Small sheet of notes, so I've got a 64-page from there.
Glitter. I love the fucking glitter.
Earlier today, I wasn't trying to be funny. 1980, 81, I was at the Doral Country Club for a Ryan meeting, and my roommate summarily ousted me from the room at about 3 in the morning because of snoring. So I took literally a blanket and a pillow into the hallways of the Doral Country Club and was wandering aimlessly when Rusty walked by and said, "What the F are you doing?" I said, "Looking for a place to sleep." He said, "Come on." I'd known Rusty for I knew him a little bit, and like Ron said, I never noticed anything odd about him at all, physically anyway. So Rusty invited me to his room, and I spent the night there. We got up the next morning, and I noticed that he got dressed in a very strange way. You ever tried to tie a tie with one hand? Tie your shoes? Button a effing button on your shirt? I was totally amazed at what this man could do with one arm. And the fact that I didn't know that he only had one arm until I lived with him for 3 days, much to his chagrin, I might add. So Rusty sort of adopted me at that point in time. And my next visit to Chicago, he invited me to his home. But prior to going to his home, he took me to his bar, Doc Ryan's. And it was an interesting bar, and as we were walking in, he said, "Steve, I want you to do something for me. I want you to not say a word to anyone, because everyone in this bar is carrying a firearm." He said, "They're not going to like the way you look." I had a suit on, and I had braces, and I had no socks. He said, "They're going to think you're mighty strange." He said, "Just do me a favor, sit down at the bar. I'll talk to some people, and we'll see if they'll let you stay." So I literally sat at the bar. The bartender walked by me 6 times. Could care less that I was there. Rusty took a couple guys back into the restroom. And when he came back out,
Of course he did.
I was one of them. They couldn't have been nicer, but it was because Rusty vouched for me being a normal human being. Well, we drank there a lot, and I went home with Rusty. And while at home, I fell asleep with Tank. Tank was Rusty's bulldog. And at that time in my life, much of my efforts were to get women to see me naked. Kathleen saw me naked. That's only because I had passed out naked with a Tank. So, that was the one woman that saw me naked that year. Not a good year. You know, Rusty gave me the dealer's daughter talk too. I didn't pay attention. So consequently, in 1982, the company was not happy with me. So Rusty, God bless him, pulled strings and got me promoted from Louisville, Kentucky to Chicago as a trainer. And I was ecstatic. But about that same time, I had a girlfriend and a wife at the time. These were my dark days. So I had met my wife of 33 years now in a bar, El Toro's. She didn't speak English. I didn't speak Spanish. I refer to these as the good old days. So, at the company meeting that year, I was to room with the vice president of training, a guy by the name of Bob Leonard. May he rest in peace. And I went to the opening cocktail party. Maria had come to South Florida with me. She was going back to Columbia. But as young love will dictate, she couldn't leave. Those weren't my dark days. So I went to the opening cocktail party, and Bob Leonard, the vice president of training, said, Steve, I'm looking very much forward to spending a weekend with you, and we're going to talk about your career, this, that, and the other. So I went up to the room where we were rooming together, dumped part of my stuff, and then booked the Howard Johnsons right down the beach for Maria and I. And this is a very true story. Rusty will verify this. I never saw Bob Leonard ever again. Because shortly thereafter, my promotion that Rusty had orchestrated fell quite apart. So it turns out that I was able to keep my job, and time went by, and Rusty ends up moving to Atlanta. So Rusty and I get together down here, and he joins a country club, and I start playing golf with him. I'm having a hell of a time. But the fifth time I played golf with him, he goes, do you have a check with you? I went, sure. He goes, let me have it. He wrote out a $22,000 check, had me sign it, and took it to the membership committee and said, we'd like to have him become a member because I'm goddamn sick and tired of paying for him. True story? True story. So, after a while, I started counseling Rusty. He had done so much for me, I felt I owed it to him to do some stuff for him. On his 65th birthday, we're at a great big celebration in a bar, and I bring him a cake that says, Happy 73rd. He goes, what are you doing? I said, watch how people tell you how good you look. True? Several years ago, I cut off several of my fingers trying to fix my garage door. That was smart. And anyway, they said I'd never walk again. But when this happened, Rusty, God bless him, Rusty goes, you can't put your socks on, can you? I said, no, I can't. He goes, let me show you how to do it. 15 months ago, EasyCare asked me to start doing contract work. So I called Rusty. I said, you didn't have anything to do with this. He goes, no, but I'll put a stop to it. No mistake. And the contract work turned into one of the best experiences of my life. And then Larry was kind enough to make me an offer. So I asked Rusty, what should I do? He goes, how long have you been working for yourself? I said, 23 years. He said, how you doing? I said, fine. He said, take the job. Take the job. He goes, this is a company that you will like because you thrive in chaos and they make their way with chaos. I feel bad that I joined the company and Rusty leaves. And there's a reason I feel bad. The Christmas party, I guess I've been around 3 or 4 months, and a lady had called and said, you know, she needs me to sign some papers. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go to the Christmas party. She goes, what do you look like? I said, well, I'll be the oldest guy there. And she went, without missing a beat, Rusty's not coming? I said, you're right, Rusty probably is coming. I'll be the second oldest guy there. So Rusty has had a tremendous influence on me for the last 38 years. And what you've done for me lately, Rusty, I cannot thank you enough. And Kathleen, for those that ask you, will you tell them how good I look naked?